stop. Yeah, and if you don't like it, you better take your ass up to the snooty box, because this is the loud spot. Okay, see you later.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loud Spot. I'm your host, Sebastian, right out of Oklahoma City. I got two co-hosts joining us today. We got Weird Wolf, Ava Gore, all the way. Are you even in Austin right now?
Yes.
Doing some modeling shoot or whatever it is that you're doing, wearing her lingerie.
Pajamas.
And then we got Canada Rob joining us, I think for the third time actually on an actual podcast. And I'm excited to have Jeff Tuohy, who is my first official country artist, even though you're not only a country artist, you also do rock music and stuff like that. But for the sake of the show, I'm going to say you're popping my country music cherry. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'll give you cherry. I'll give you out of your cherry, sure.
So you know, I didn't realize that you are also into rock music and metal music, but play country music. So how did you go from listening to like metal music and then kind of transitioning over to the country / Americana country rock, I guess you could say?
I guess my interest in different types of music has always kind of ranged. I think a big part of the metal phase was like early adolescence, like anything that would really shock my parents if they found it in my closet. So Slayer, Sepultura, Cannibal Corpse, especially if they caught the covers of that. Also went through a really big gangster hip hop phase back then as well. Pretty much if it said parental advisory, I wanted to devour it. So that's kind of where the metal started. And then, I mean, just so many of those guys have ridiculous voices. I'd say my favorite metal voice is probably Bruce Dickinson from Maiden. He's badass and still sounds great. The last time I saw him live, it was unreal. So it started with that. And then high school, a little more diversity, some of the Dave Matthews started to sneak in. So now we're already starting to move more Americana, a little more acoustic. And then, around college, some more of the Ryan Adams stuff kind of popped in recently. Jason Isbell, the Sturgill Simpsons, Chris Stapleton. So I kind of found a combo. I'm a really big fan of the pedal steel. So some of my stuff might be considered more Americana, but as soon as you throw up something twangy in like a pedal steel, or if a song's really feeling fiddle, then throw that in as well, and that automatically becomes associated with country. And I really started getting more into the country when I had visited San Antonio. I went down there during Fiesta and went out into Hill Country. I went to Green Hall, went to JT Floors, and it was interesting. And then now a lot of the country that you see too, a lot of stuff I just mentioned, like Jason Isbell, Chris Stapleton, Sturgill. I mean, Sturgill put out oh man, I'm forgetting the name of it. Something in the Fury, but it was a hard rock album that right after his Grammy Award-winning country one, and that was hard rock. So I think that a lot of the country stuff, it's just country fans are very open-minded. It doesn't necessarily have to be Florida Georgia line. It can be more of a hard rock, more of a southern rock, and I grew up on a lot of that. A lot of classic rock melded too. I mean, classic rock could mean you're listening to some Dio, or it could mean that you're listening to the Allman Brothers. So I guess I kind of have always lived within those worlds, and I have a background in theater and musical theater, so that there's always genres happening and all that. So, this latest record, I've kind of been dancing between like a New Orleans-y kind of Tom Waits kind of vibe, and then more of the Americana singer-songwriter.
Dude, I love the fact, first I'm going to say this, country and rock music, it's always they can go, depending on the style of rock and style of country, can go hand in hand. But I feel like more so recently in the years that we live in today, I feel like there's a lot more people kind of combining the two. And sometimes with country artists, you can't even tell if they're a rock artist or a country artist based on how they look. Go ahead, Abe. I know you got something to say. I can tell.
I would disagree. I would say that rock and country have always gone together, from the 1940s, 50s, 60s. Like, it's always gone together.
You're wrong.
Looks like that classic photo, Ash flipping the camera. Very rock and roll, man. So,
and being from New York City, now I know you're from all over kind of the East Coast area, but I would say New York is probably your home base, right? You don't really, I wouldn't think you'd hear a lot of country music in New York. Like it's probably less like in Oklahoma and Texas and Canada. Rob over there in Canada, they probably got country music there too. But in New York, you don't really think country music thinking of artists from New York.
Yeah, that's why the record's called Hudson Delta. Because it's I've heard it called skyscraper Americana or skyscraper blues. So that's kind of the idea. Yeah, I don't really know how the combo happened. I guess I just like rock. I've always liked the sound. We did a lot of touring when I was out of college, and I loved a lot of the different fans and roadhouses in the South. It was a lot of fun. So I guess I just internalized a lot of that. But you'd be surprised with New York. I mean, the great thing about large cities like New York is you have people from all over.
Mm-hmm.
So they do. I don't remember what it's called. Like there's this inaugural Texas concert that comes through, and a lot of times it'll be like Randy Rogers band or Pat Green. And a lot of those bands will come through, and there's still very big crowds for them, So I think, like you were saying, a lot of the melding of the rock and the country, and I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, like, if that's. I do agree that they've always been together, but it does seem like it's almost a divide in some ways. It's like you either like the music with the guitars or you like the music with the computers. Which one are you picking?
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
When I hear New York, I think of Biggie, and you said hip hop earlier. So, like, what's your biggest hip hop influence?
So I actually have a band called Concrete Jungle that is playing this Friday actually locally, and it's all live old school hip hop. So we have a percussionist, my pal Damon Grant, who was on tour recently with Charlie Hunter. He plays that. So it's all a bunch of musicians who typically dabble more in the rock and jazz, but we play a lot of hip hop live. So I love Tribe Called Quest. Chronic Dr. Dre was a big one for my age group. I was in about 6th grade, I think, when that came out. Loved that. Biggie's probably my favorite lyricist. As well. Fugees, liked a lot of their work. So a lot of that stuff that's considered, old school always changes depending on what group that you're in, what age group you're in. So that's one of the things that band has done is we can't just play the old school that was to my age group, because old school to a lot of people who are in our audience now is Low by Flo Rida, which,
So true.
Yeah, we're like on Slam was mine. So yeah, a lot of the stuff that I like is a lot of those old samples with those old jazz records and stuff like that. That was my initial interest in hip hop. Pretty much anything that fell between 1992 and 96, and then throughout high school after that, which was more of the Biggie and the Tupac and all that.
I want to talk about 2009. So it's on your website, on your bio, you talked about how, were you getting signed in 2009, and then something just kind of didn't work out. What's that whole story? What's that all about?
Yeah, so I was signed to an independent deal with an independent label in 2006, right out of college, and which is pretty surreal because you're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I got a record deal out of college. I'm the shit, But I was also in the back of my head like, this is not normal, and you should be really psyched about getting this like right out. So, but it was interesting because it was right out of college. So you're like, yeah, everything's going the way that it's supposed to, and I think life gave me a much needed kick in the ass around 2008. So we had done some touring on that, and we created a new album while we were with that label. And then right before the album was about to drop, the funding dropped out because of 2008. So the primary stockholders or shareholders in the company had to move their funds elsewhere, to something that was a little more stable, so to speak. Actually, I don't need to put the quotes in there. Music. Unstable. So,
but was your music played on some like top 100 radio stations, or you charted back then?
Yeah, a lot of AAA stations. I'm not exactly sure what the charting was, but a lot of AAA stations song "Knock on Wood," which now could actually probably get a country revamp. Now that I think about it, but it was more like singer songwriter, and then the album after that was a little bit more starting to explore the more New Orleans-y, like classic rock kind of vibe, which now the new record has about half the New Orleans vibe. So yeah, it was the first one had Knock on Wood, and then the deal dropped right before we dropped my album Cocoon, which had my song Bourbon Street on it, which was probably my most popular song at the moment.
It makes sense that you agreed to come on the show, because every time I try to get a country artist on, they're like, they hear the intro, they're like, nope, fuck this. Never mind. I don't want to do that show anymore.
Oh no. I was listening through a bunch today to just get myself prepared, and I was like, fuck yeah, let's go.
That's fucking good, dude. Pumped.
So
I love the Louisiana, like that swamp. Do you do any of that like swampy kind of country? Because you have a song. What's that song called? With like it's like an animated music video with like skeletons in it.
yeah,
The
Devil's in New
Devil's in New Orleans.
Yes.
You
Sorry.
from Canada the way he said New Orleans. New Orleans. He's all about it. You know, he's all about it.
Well, it was Tragically Hip though. Didn't they have New Orleans is Drowning or something like that? So Tragically Hip, man, Canadian. I think that was their most popular song was about New Orleans. So
New Orleans is sinking, and I don't want to swim.
I don't get the I just fake laugh for no reason. Right there, right there. I just gotta fake laugh. What does that even mean? I don't know. I have no idea. So, okay, Jeff, do you also write songs for other people, or is just for yourself?
I'm open to it, but it's mostly been for myself, and I usually write by myself. I think I have, one or two co-writes maybe. I think I had a lyrical co-write and a couple others, but yeah, no, it's mostly all for myself or whatever. And then to finish answering your question about Devils in New Orleans or the song Bourbon Street that I had, like I think a lot of that was that music theater background as well, because I mean a lot of the American music tradition, a lot of that comes from the South.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Berry, probably the father of rock and roll. A lot of people always assume it's Elvis, but it's Chuck Berry.
Mm-hmm.
Blues, a lot of the Robert Johnson. So I think it's only natural to explore some of that. And I really took to the New Orleans kind of stuff. And then I think the theatrics, I had never even heard of Tom Waits, to be honest, or I had heard of him, but I had never listened to Tom Waits before I wrote that song Bourbon Street. And then a lot of people were like, you got to check this guy Tom Waits out. And it blew my fucking mind. So yeah, I think it's only natural to explore that as an American songwriter, because that's where a lot of our musical traditions come from.
Go ahead, Ava.
Right. What is the hardest part about writing for you?
Perfectionism.
Nah.
Just you want everything. Yeah, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but sometimes you just got to put things out there. So you're always finding that fine line between wanting to be prolific and wanting to be precise. So I'd say that's probably it, is perfectionism.
That's my problem. Is like I'm anti-perfectionism. Like I'm like, put that shit out there. Let's go. It sounds good. Just go.
Can you tell he doesn't have a filter?
Looks like I might be. Yeah, so I'd say the most difficult part of that. But some songs come like that. Bourbon Street came like that. The Devils in New Orleans, the lyrics to that came very easy. It was very playful. But then a song like Old Roads, I took a lot of time on those lyrics to try to make them. I think Tom Petty is one of my favorite artists as well, and he had a great way of saying really deep shit very simply so that everyone could get it, and I think that that's sometimes the key, is that you want to be careful not to be revel in your artistry too much and really think about, okay, who do I want to listen to it? I think one of the most important things about being an artist is relating to other people. So it's trying to figure out, okay, how do I say this, so that people feel something, while also being true to your vision itself and what you're trying to say. So, and that's, again, perfectionism. How do you find the balance between those two?
I think is really cool. Rob, I'll let you say something, but what I think is really cool is a lot of musicians get stuck on their one-track style of music. I think it's really neat that you have influences in lots of different genres, lots of different artists. That makes you very unique with your songwriting, because you're going to pull from different things of how you grew up and different artists that you've listened to that have inspired you. And I think as musicians, as we get older, when we're young, you're a rocker or you're a rapper or you do country or this. But nowadays, it's really more of a melting pot. But the older you get, in my age group anyways, the more I appreciate all kinds of different music. And I think that's really neat that you're able to talk about that. And pull those things in. Go ahead, Rob, and then I want to talk about Old Roads after your question, after he answers it, and play the music video. So go ahead and shoot.
Absolutely. So you have Old Roads, and then you have Old Roads, and then there's Bourbon Street, and then 44. I listened to all these songs today, and they're amazing. Absolutely stunning. And then like Real Love, what inspired that? Like Real Love and Monogamy, the beats of those are just, it's totally different from Old Roads. It's unique.
Thanks. Yeah.
Really unique sound.
Yeah. So all the drums on Cocoon are Josh Dion, who's one of the best drummers out there. He has a great group right now called Paris Monster, where he's pretty much playing the drums with one hand and playing like synth with another hand, and he has a bass player in the band as well. So a lot of those grooves and stuff are, as an artist, you can explain to the other players what you're looking to do, but then you try to hire, or you try to bring in and collaborate with the right people, so that you give them, you're like, okay, here's the playpen that we're playing in. Go nuts. You can even climb to the edge of the fence if you want. Just try to stay in here, But so, yeah, a lot of that is to the credit of Josh Dion as far as the beats and the grooves on Cocoon. And again, there's a lot of that, well, I kind of wanted to have an Americana vibe, but, I really like, I think Monogamy, a lot of the beats, or one of the beats in the breakdown, is inspired by the breakdown in the middle of Great Day in the Morning on the D'Angelo album Voodoo. And the drummer on that was Questlove. And so I said, in the middle of that,
all this knowledge, man, that's so cool. You're like all this knowledge of like just different artists, and like I know none of this stuff. It's like I'm getting a lesson here. Like you should be a teacher, like a music teacher. Hey, I do want to ask you. We only have not a whole lot of time. My wife is watching, and she wants to know: does he love Otis Redding? He's an amazing artist. That's bluesy and folk.
Yeah, I love Otis Redding. Similarly, I love Bill Withers. Bill Withers live at Carnegie Hall is probably my favorite live album. But yeah, I love Otis. He was, he was gone before his time, and he was ahead of his time with his music. He was unreal. Show a Little Tenderness is unreal. Unreal vocal. I hope that is the name of the song. Just where he has.
Knock on wood. Don't worry, I fuck up all the time when I'm on here. Don't worry. Don't even worry about it.
And yeah, Hard to Handle and all that stuff. Sitting on the dock of the bay, I've played that many times for people around a campfire. So yeah, I love Otis.
Okay, now let's go to Old Roads. I want to know, before I play the song, what does this song mean to you specifically?
It's a song about home, and hopefully everybody can relate to it.
Well, there you go. All right, short, sweet, and to the point. All right, here we go with Old Roads by Jeff Tuohy. Here we go.
So here's the thing, said Johnny, as he cracked himself a can. He said it looks like El Dorado. It's back where it began. 'Cause we travel around this country, turning metal into gold. But when we needed inspiration, down these dusty streets we rolled. Now we know. Storms we might have weathered, I hope we all get together till we die, till we die. Sometimes you wanna drive them old roads as the stereo explodes. You're looking back on all your teenage episodes, and as you kick back and drive, the memories come alive. Everything you're carrying unloads. Drive them old roads. Drive them old roads. Over mountains I am climbing, in oceans I have swam. There's a little town to come from. It's part of who I am. Through every passing season, after every setting sun, there's a home that I come back to. After living on the run, there's only one. Through all the storms we might have weathered, I hope we all get to
that song can relate to so many different people. I mean, my wife mentioned Oklahoma. It really, no matter where you're from, those bring back memories, I think, to almost anyone's childhood. And great voice too, man. Great voice, great song, great video, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, that was actually that was co-directed and co-produced by my friend Liron Kahanov, who worked on Madam Secretary. He just finished working on Clerks 3. And so that was filmed in the middle of COVID. That was October 2020. And so that was the interesting thing about going through 2020 was just, in some ways it was earth shattering because you couldn't go out and do what you wanted to do. You couldn't go out and play shows and do what, I feel I was born to do. But it was really a great opportunity to get out of the grind of being a professional musician and focus on the art of it. So we had him come up with a bunch of great other New York tech people, other camera people, other lighting people. And a lot of people hadn't been working. So everyone was stoked, and it was all filmed outside. So everyone felt safe. And so it was one of those things where necessity breeded productivity.
I got a very important question I think everyone's going to want to know the answer to. So brace yourself for this, okay?
All right.
Ready? All right.
I think so.
How did you get your band name?
Honestly, I had several bands in high school and in college, and it just got to a point where, some people just wanted to do it as a hobby, and I wanted to do it professionally. And I was making, and I didn't have a band at the time, and I said, well, fuck it, I'm just going to go out and do it myself. So it wasn't a total ego trip as much as it was just I didn't have a band. I hired some really great professional musicians to do my first record, and it was just more, I didn't want to wait on anybody else. I knew what I wanted to do. And so if I call it Jeff Tuohy, unless I quit, the band name can stay. So
right.
I wanted to ask if you ever experience like writer's block, if there's something in particular that helps you get out of that.
Oh yeah, all the time. Writer's block. And then, again, coupled with the perfectionism, I have a lot of songs that I'm like, that sounds like this song, or it's hard to not be to be influenced. So yeah, I think that right now, I mean, I just put out Hudson Delta, and I have a song coming out called Santa's Bringing Coal, with a classic animation, kind of like in the style of Frosty and Schoolhouse Rock and Peanuts. And then after that, I have a couple songs, but I have a lot of song ideas lyrically, but not a whole lot of melodies floating around right now. And so I'm a little nervous, but it's going to be interesting because I have a lot of lyrical ideas. So usually the music comes first for me with a lyrical idea, but right now I have a lot of lyrical ideas and no music. So it's kind of like I've Bernie Taupined, and now I need to Elton John. So I'm a little nervous, because again, with writer's block, I'm not somebody who rushed. This was Hudson Delta came out. This is 2021. My last record came out 2009. So I'm definitely not somebody who rushes to get things out. And that's difficult in this environment right now, because, avenues like Spotify and whatnot, they reward you algorithmically for releasing consistently. But I don't want to rush things out just so I hit a playlist. I want to make sure it's the right stuff. Otherwise, if it's not something that you're proud of, then what's the point of having, millions of people hear it? So yes.
It's a good thing I'm not in your band, because if I was in your band, like every song fucking hit, put it out there. Put it out there. Let's go right now.
Reminds me of eating at McDonald's. Good. Oh, reminds me of going there. Awesome. Great. Print it.
Are you currently signed to a record label, or do you have a management team or booking agent helping you get your stuff out there?
No. It's all kind of self-run. I'm working with a company called Shark Attack right now. They handle all of my digital marketing. My publicist's name is Jason Duarte, and he runs a company called Scorpion Ltd. So it's an independent operation with subcontractors, and I'm distributed through Vidya and via the distribution company is called Vidya, but the company that handles it for me is called Head Bitch Music. Cool. And so yes, but it's a operation. Definitely open to finding a deal as long as it's the right deal. I'm not necessarily looking for accolades. I don't need to be selling out stadiums. I just want to consistently release great music. So ultimately it would be nice to have somebody who can kind of help pump it more, because the more somebody else handles that, the more you can focus on your artistry and on your performance. But you want to make sure it's the right deal too. Otherwise you're just across the barrel.
Here's a question. Who does he run the lines through when he's writing? His wife? Oh, like me? I always have her help me out if I'm writing some. Do you have anybody that helps you when you're writing music to listen to it or give creative input at all?
The band, when I bring the song to my band, they'll check it out, but there'll be like slight suggestions, more like, well, how about this groove instead of this groove, and again, I like to be open to that. This last time out, I remember my keyboard player, Dave Archer, who plays with this band Uni as well. He's kind of very into metal as well and very into prog rock and all that. Rush, Canada. So he actually
shout out to Canada.
Dave had nice compliment to me in the studio. Brian Forbes was the co-producer of this record, and Brian had a lot of ideas. He's like, just try this with the song instead. And I was like, okay, cool. And Dave's like, that's interesting. A lot of artists won't fuck with that. They have the idea and that's that. I'm like, well, worst thing that happens is we try it. And if it doesn't sound good, then we go back to what I said. So, I'm always open to trying new things. As far as my wife, not my wife, mine. She's like, that's great, honey. And I'm like, no, it's fucking not great. It sucks. It sucks. And then we record. I'm like, great. Yeah. That's like,
I froze.
That's okay. I can keep yapping while you're freezing.
Okay,
I couldn't handle your aggression.
I froze. Hold on a second here. Let me see if I can do something here.
Oh.
Am I back? Oh. Am I back?
What do we do without you, Sebastian?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Well, that's all right. Well, then you don't need to see me anyways. We're about to end this show right now. Real quick, because I don't have time to fuck with my camera right now. You got any tours coming up?
Not yet. We're going to be planning something probably in, sometime between March and June. We're going to be planning on some tours again coming up. So that's the next thing. We want to make sure we do it right and do the production right. So we're doing a lot of private work right now around here and just getting ready to get this Santa's Bringing Coal out. And then, yeah, I'd say probably about March or so, you'll see us cranking on the road probably through the summer.
Awesome. I have no idea what happened to my camera. Hold on. Well, we're gonna end the show because I can't find myself. We're at 30 minutes already. Go ahead, Ava.
Do you have a website, social media, merch?
There you go.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the website is Jeff, Jeff, Tuohy.com. And then I'm mostly active on Instagram and Facebook, and that's the THE, Jeff Tuohy, JEFF So yeah, I hope you'll hit me up, and I'm really good at responding, and I love talking music with people. So definitely hit me up there.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm sorry my camera messed up. At least it was at the end of the show. It was at the end of the show. What? You want something else, Ava?
Peace out.
Oh, I'm not done. I gotta say, even though no one can see me, they can still hear me. Please go check out our YouTube channel, just The Loud Spot. Go to www.theloudspot.net and our Patreon page for $3 a month. You can help support us. Jeff, you've been such a great, absolutely fantastic guest tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Absolutely loved it. That's all we got. Peace out. Rock on. Much love. Hey, Jeff, don't go anywhere. Stay right there just for 1 second. All right, here we go.
This is the Loud Spot outro by nothing short of tragic. Is this all talk with no action? No. Is this my thoughts with distraction? No. Is this what I bought that's in fashion? Or is this the Loud Spot with Sebastian? Yes. Does nothing short of tragic have us back again? Yes. Does everything that's good really have to end? Yes. A pin post has a pin show, so to get more episodes, make an order, this is over.
Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to click the like and share button.
Don't forget to go to our YouTube and subscribe.
If you want to listen to our audio and pick up some cool merch, go to www.theloudspot.net. Peace out, rock on, much love.